Hello, Stephanie Apple here, and I'm excited to show you what to do with all these beautiful gel prints that you've been making. So recently, I created some videos using some new stencils that I got from Joggles. They are from Elizabeth St. Hilaire's May collection, her Dorothy collection, and there's a ton of great combinations of polka dots. And so the first project I did was these backgrounds. And I really love the prints that came out of those. And I'll link to the video that showed all of these great stencils being unboxed and used on the gel press. But now it's time for me to turn these beautiful papers and backgrounds into greeting cards. And so I love to use gel prints for greeting cards because they have such amazing texture. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to cut out a white rectangle with some stitched bordering that will help me put a nice stamped image on top of the greeting card. This particular die cut is something I use often, and it's from Honeybee Stamps. It's a honey cut. And I'll link to that product in the description below as well. But I'll use the Sizzix Big Shot. That's my preferred die cutting machine to use, and I like to use the metal plate underneath that is intended for fine dies and fine cutouts. And so I'll just go ahead and crank it through. And what I've done off to the side there is I've already cut my gel prints down to 5x7 size. And so in order to do that, I did 4.75 by 6.75 so that there will be a small white border around the print. And now these have been cut out. You can see that great little edge that gives it a nice polished look. So I'll cut out for those. And then what's left behind is a frame that also has that stitched detail. So I'll put those in a pile for a different project. And so I've decided to utilize some shark themed stamps. And I really like the hammerhead. Shark Week's around the corner, and I just love these stamps. And so I found a hammerhead and then a sentiment that said, "You nailed it." And I think that is a really great way to show somebody that you're proud of them or to congratulate someone. I also prefer to use archival inks, especially in cases when I don't want my ink to smudge. And so this is absolutely one of those instances where when I print it, when I stamp it onto my image, I don't want it going anywhere. I don't want it smudging in the mail, and I want a nice crisp line. There are lots of different inks you can use for lots of different reasons, but I'll just share with you why I like to use the Ranger archival inks today. And so the color here is just so pretty. And so I line my stamps up on my MISTI, the most incredible stamping tool. And then I can use the grid lines to see, did I get it straight? And then this makes creating bulk cards really easy. I love to make bulk cards. I have quite a few teammates at work that I would like to send these cards to, so I'll make as many as I can. And I have a ton of fun making my greeting cards in bulk, and the MISTI helps. I can already tell that this color is going to look great, and so I go ahead and put down a decent amount. Now, if you are new to the MISTI, you may find that the first time you put your stamped image onto your paper, it doesn't look so great and you don't get full coverage with the image. And that might be a little concerning and you think, oh, that's not what I was going for. But that's why there's a magnet. And the magnet holds your piece of paper in place so that you can do multiple layers. And that will help you get the solid image that you're going for when you are stamping your designs. What I'll tell you also, as I do this in bulk, I'll make, maybe 16 or 17 different designs at once, that it gets better as you make more prints. So my advice would be, don't get frustrated if the first time you stamp, you don't get full coverage, and keep at it. Use that magnet because it really helps. I love those colors. They look very much like something you would see in the sea, and the dots in the background, I could see them looking like bubbles or even nail heads. So now that I have printed all my stamps, it's time for me to go ahead and use my very favorite adhesive, the Tombow Xtreme, and it's already time for me to refill it. I use it a lot. This is my preferred adhesive because it is easy to maneuver and it works. The paper sticks together, and that's what you need, right? Not too messy either. So I have my stack of backgrounds, and I'll start with those first. I'm going to adhere the backgrounds to the white cardstock, and I'll just do a border of adhesive around the gel print. It's mixed media paper, so it is not the thickest paper ever, but it still has a layer of acrylic paint on top of it, so it's not thin, and you want to get good coverage. But I'm not going to cover the entire piece of paper with tape. I don't need to. This tape holds really well. And then a trick when lining up the backgrounds, if you're doing this method, I can tell you that I do not measure, and you can probably tell that about me already too. But I do line my paper up with the folded border, and I leave just a little bit of white space in between the image and the folded part of the greeting card, because you can trim the other stuff. So let's say you get a little bit off kilter when you are adhering it, you can trim on all of the sides except the side with the folded edge. If you trim that, then you don't have a folded greeting card anymore. So that's just a little tip for you from experience. So I've sped up my video a little bit just so that you can see these cards as they come together, and I'm going to continue adhering the backgrounds, and then what I'll do is I'll move on to using double-sided tape. I use a process called batching. When I make bulk greeting cards, I typically will complete a task for all of the cards all at once and then move on to my next task. That helps me keep my supplies organized, and it helps me, if I have to step away for a period of time, keep everything, done all in order. So here's a close-up of one of the greeting card backgrounds ready for the awesome shark image. So I'll lay out all of the prints at once, and then I will put 3 pieces of double-sided tape on the back of each of them. This is probably my least favorite part, so that's why I do it all at once. And you can see the big pile of trash from my double-sided tape. And now for the fun part, where I get to place the sharks on top of the gel print backgrounds and just stack them up. So it makes that part really easy and rewarding and fast when you have all of the fronts prepared so that you can stick them down pretty quickly on the greeting cards. One of the things that I like the most is that each of these backgrounds is unique and different. So when I send these greeting cards out to people, they're going to get their own unique piece of art. They're also very shimmery, which I think the camera is picking up pretty well, but each of those backgrounds has a fair amount of medium in it. And again, I'll link to the video where I did the gel pressing and show you all of the different acrylic paints and mediums that I used to build up this texture and to get a nice shiny design that I could use for these greeting cards. That one's probably my favorite with the, that's the cleanup piece of paper. So that was actually not a print that I intended to make, but what I got when I cleaned up my gel press. So those are some of my favorite prints always. So I have a nice little stack here, and I just hope that you are inspired to use your gel prints on some different projects, maybe even greeting cards. It's super fun to make, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.